Welcome to the channel, people. Today we're back inside my favorite thrift/consignment store, and I found some really cute little gems to make over. And what I really like about today's video is they're easy and you can reuse these ideas with just about anything. And while I was here, I came across this beautiful little set. So I took to the community tab and I asked, decoupage or leave them alone? And to my surprise, I received over 100 comments, and most of yous were like, Brandi, leave them alone, don't touch them, they're perfect. And I'm like, who am I gonna piss off today? So here are the beautiful pieces, and here's what I didn't show you. I was kind of sneaky. So this little pot, it actually had a little painting on the back of it, and I was like, let me see how many people I can get on board with me. But you guys were not riding my decoupage train, so I'm gonna keep the rest of them completely like they are. But this piece, we're gonna do a little decoupage on this one. But for the whole 0.1% of you that were like, decoupage it, you're my people. I don't know who these other strangers are right now. I don't know who these are, okay? Y'all know I'm just kidding. Don't leave the video. Come back down and look at the pieces. So I really wanted to give you a close-up of them because I thought they were unique and so many of you were in love with the pieces. So the iron in this and the little pot are completely cast iron, in my opinion. They're heavy, they're thick, they're solid, and I love them. This little joint, however, somebody perpetrated. Look at this. It's paint. So I was like, meh, I'm still on the hunt for a tiny baby cast iron little paint. I'll find it. I'll find it, people. Don't you worry. But for now, I'm gonna hold on to it. It looks nice. We're gonna take some Waverly plaster to get a little base over top because somebody put some Mod Podge over top of this. And honestly, I'm not trying to destroy the pot, so I'm not trying to get crazy with it and just cover the whole thing. We're just going to do 2 layers of the plaster just to give it a nice base so we can take our little bunny napkin, which is in my napkin kits on my website, in the Easter kit and in the spring and Easter kit. If you're interested, the link is down in the description box. Now, napkins have a sneaky layer if you're not familiar. So be mindful that you're getting that off. I take a little bit of Mod Podge and rub in between my fingers and then pull the napkins apart. This by far to me is the easiest way to get them extra layers off. You know, it works 98% of the time. The other 2%, I want to just crumble the napkin up and throw it out the window because it has an attitude. But that's besides the point. You can cut your napkin, you can sand it down, however you want to do that. I'm not using the bunny. I just really wanted the flowers, so I'm ripping the napkin up purposefully in the spots I want, and then I'm taking a small amount of Mod Podge, less is more, and deliberately putting it in the spots I want and then pressing it down my finger. I'm not too worried about the placement or if it's perfect or wrinkled for this, so I just use my finger. And then when I was all finished with putting the napkin on, I took some sandpaper to come back over. Now you want to make sure it is completely dry before you do this. This way you're not going to bunch up your napkin on the ends. And come back in and just sand down around where you put the end of the Mod Podge. So this way it just looks like it's blended with the pot and it was meant to be there, or whatever you're doing this to. I got this beautiful stamp off Amazon. I do think it's down in my store link. I'll double check before this video goes live. And I use, when I'm being lazy and don't feel like getting a stamper, I will put stamps on top of my paint bottles, and you know, they hold out just fine. But I hated this. This did not turn out at all like I hoped, so I painted over it. Then I decided I was going to go for a deep dive down into my transfer stash because I didn't want a chance trying another, you know, another stamp. I don't know why I have things in, y'all get your craft supplies mixed up. Like, stickers don't go in the transfer box, okay? Don't worry, I fixed that. So I went through my transfers and found just the perfect little ones to go in here. And before you go putting transfers on paint or on a napkin, Put yourself a layer of sealer on there. I'm using Mod Podge. Don't do it to yourself. That transfer won't stick or it'll rip up. It'll be a hot mess. Just Mod Podge it, let it dry, then put your transfer on, then Mod Podge it again. And look how beautiful this is. For our next two pieces, I need to clean them up, so I'm using Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner, and I do put mine in a spray bottle. They do not recommend that, but it works out just fine for me. I saved you the cleaning, you're welcome. And I think this piece is going to bleed, so I did also put a layer of Dixie Belle Boss on here, and I'm using Waverly's Lavender. That's it, just Waverly's Lavender. And I'm going to coat the whole thing. This did take 2 coats, not too bad, you know what I mean, not too bad. Didn't take long to dry because I used my little heat gun. And then we're going to need to grab us some joint compound, a stencil, and whatever color paint you want to do, because we're going to create a raised stencil. Who's shocked? This is like my signature thing. Are you shocked? If you're new, don't be shocked. Get used to it. This is what I do. Okay, so joint compound, I'm using Waverly's White, and we're just mixing it together so it's all creamy. A little bit of ASMR right there for you. Now, you can do this however you want. I have wrung this many times and used a plastic spoon. Just make sure your stencil is pressed down in the exact spot you are spreading out your mixture. This is not a tedious and time-consuming project. It takes just a couple minutes. Just be mindful and move your hand as you go for a larger piece. If it's a small piece, just make sure you're pressing properly. This is also in real time. I did not speed any of this up, so this way you could see, well, I mean, I did fade as I move forward, but as you're seeing it, that's actually how I'm doing it. It's not sped up the process. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Anyhow, let's move on. So when you get to the point where you're completely done, you're welcome to go back over and check, make sure you didn't miss anything. And if you have some smooshes and you want to fix them, use your finger, or you could use a dotting pen, a toothpick, and go back and make some adjustments. It was not necessary for this. And yes, you can use your heat gun to dry this up quicker. I like to do that. And I'm going to take some Rust-Oleum metallic accents. I recently had a subscriber, Miss Jax, talk about mixing some, shinies and metallics and stuff like that. I'm like, I got this stuff. So let's use this on a project. So I took this and rubbed it all around the edges and then came back in over the top of the project. This stuff dries super quick, so make sure you're working quickly. It also, the more you use, the heavier of a metallic it is. I was trying to leave some gaps and keep it fairly thin. Now, I like to use kind of when I'm putting florals on something, a base. So I was trying to use this tumbling block, and then I'm dropping the tumbling block everywhere. And I'm like, I'm gonna get crusty bit fingers again, because this Gorilla Glue gel means serious business. So I'm like, oh, let's hurry up and just get this glued on here before I mess my whole hand up. If this happens to you, quickly take a paper towel or something and make sure that you get up the spots where it was touching, because you don't want to go back, and which I've done before, and put my hand in it, and then I had like my table sticking to me. It was a mess. Anyhow, let's move on with the project. I want my center flower to stick up a little bit, so I'm putting this base, you could use popsicle stick as a base too. I just like doing this because I feel like it gives more of a sturdier attachment when I'm doing florals, and it also allows me to kind of, tier them a little bit. I'm taking some solo wood flowers and I'm using the hot glue and the Gorilla Glue. This way I know them suckers are not going anywhere. Plus, I always think they have a very high-end look to them. For our last project, we're going to need to create a textured paint. Now, you can do this several different ways. My favorite is mixing in baking soda and some joint compound or spackling. It's just thicker and creamier, and I've sold furniture with this mixture done on it as well. I've never had a client complain, so If it ain't broke, don't fix it, people. Now, I did sand these gems down and clean them. And we're going to keep this, like I said at the beginning of the video, simple. We're taking a chippy brush. And for the first layer, just spread this stuff on here. Let it dry. You're going to need to do this several times. And that's not just for the ducks. That's for really anything to accomplish the thickening texture of this. When you're at your final layer, you're going to want to stipple the entire piece over and over and over. I actually did 2 layers of this, and the whole thing looks really textured. You can also use like a stone or concrete spray paint if you want, but I don't have any, so this is, you know, how I create a texture look. Then I'm going to create one duck is going to be like the boy duck, and the other duck is going to be the girl duck. And I'm giving the boy duck like a little, I don't know, I guess a bow tie, but it's not really a bow tie, it's just kind of a ribbon around him. And I'm weaving these 2 together to accomplish that look. And then for the other duck, I'm creating a base using a popsicle stick and some more solo wood flowers. Do not be afraid if you purchase these. I know some people are like, these are really expensive. Listen, I never buy them unless they're on sale. 70 and 90% off. Keep an eye on the website, and then those are the ones we're buying that day. And I love them. I just feel like they always have a really high-end look. I haven't really seen them in my Dollar Tree, but I have heard Dollar Tree is selling wood flowers, so keep an eye out for them. I'm making a finger bow as well to go on with the little floral display. I learned this from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs, because y'all know your girl over here cannot make bows. Bless you, Sammy, for being so talented and teaching me how to do that. And then I just glued everything together using Gorilla Glue gel and some hot glue for an immediate bond, and that was it for these. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, people. I hope you got some learning and some entertainment. Let me know in the comments below which one of these was your favorite, and if you think you could use these techniques on anything that you want to make over. Until next time, bye!